We're answering two questions today. What kind of trees were the tree of knowledge of good and evil and the tree of life? And why did God not want them to eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil? In Genesis chapter 2, the poet tells us that at the center of the garden, God planted two trees, the tree of life and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. We're not told what kind of trees they were, but ancient commentators suggested that they were fig trees. And why did they suggest this? Because of the flow of the narrative. Adam and Eve were together when they ate from the tree, and we're told that as soon as they ate, they recognized that they were naked and made coverings with fig leaves. And where did they get these fig leaves so quickly? The tree they just ate from. But to be clear, we don't actually know what kind of trees they were. The text does not tell us. This is just conjecture. But it is an ancient perspective, one that not all readers have always agreed on. For example, in the Talmud, Rabbi Yehuda suggested that it was a wheat tree, while others suggested that it's impossible to know what kind of tree it really was, and that the text would tell us if it mattered. Rabbi Rashi offers an interesting perspective, arguing for it being a fig tree. He says, "Why is not the name of the tree clearly mentioned? Because the Holy One, blessed be He, never wished to grieve anything He has created. Hence its name is not mentioned in order that it might not be put to shame by people saying, 'This is the tree through which the world suffered.'" Although we do not know for sure what kind of trees they were, and some people might argue that it's trivial and it doesn't really matter, I think that this small detail is meaningful, especially for Christians. After Adam and Eve ate from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, God denies them access to the tree of life. And we do not substantially hear from the tree of life again until the book of Revelation. And then in chapter 22, we're told that the leaves of the tree were for the healing of the nations. Notice the contrast between the leaves of the tree of life and the leaves of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. In Genesis chapter 3, Adam and Eve covered themselves with the fig leaves of the tree of knowledge of good and evil, but the leaves did not cover their shame or heal them. And that's why God had to make coverings for them himself. But in Revelation 22, if we assume that the tree of life is also a fig tree, the fig leaves of the tree of life bring healing. And the most common references to figs in the Old Testament are metaphorical. In a negative sense, they are used to describe God's judgments, and in a positive sense, they are used to depict peace, prosperity, and God's blessing. Notice how figs both have a positive and a negative association, similar to the two trees in the center of the garden. One tree that brings death, whose leaves cannot cover the shame that it causes, and another tree that brings life, whose leaves bring healing. It's no wonder God told them not to eat from the one tree, and that the serpent did not tempt them to eat from the other. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next one.